Testing. How does this sound, everybody? 1, 2, 1, 2. Welcome, everybody. Can I start? We're good? Welcome. Thank you all for being here in the room with us. Happy Women's History Month. My name is Laura Fox. I'm the Vice President of Partnerships at AEG and also an executive sponsor of the Women at AEG leadership team. And so I'm going to be facilitating this incredible conversation that we have. I'm so excited. And the women at AEG have really worked hard to put this discussion together. We're exploring the theme of Women's History Month, which is moving forward together, educating women and inspiring generations. So we'll be coming back to that throughout the conversation and really ultimately sharing different perspectives in the music industry. For you all, just so you know who's in the room and who's going to be live watching this, it's AEG executives and AEG staffers. So AEG is the world's leading music and sports live entertainment company. We have unforgettable experiences and memories for about 100 million fans a year. We produce and promote and curate the best festivals in the world. And we're really excited to talk about more of those. People in the room help book artists, ticket marketing, brand partnerships, analyze our first-party data. All kinds of things are in the industry, and they're really excited to hear your purview. And for the attendees, we first and foremost want to celebrate the incredible contributions of LPGOB. If you aren't familiar with her, where the hell have you been? No, she co-founded the label Animal Talk and also co-founded This Is Femme House, which is a nonprofit organization really focused on creating more equitable opportunities for women and non-binary people in the music industry. LP, your album, Light Places, it really was the first introduction I had to you. And it was so incredible. It was on my top 5 of 2023, says Spotify. And your album you released, I think it was the top of last year, Daughter, am I pronouncing it right? Is so emotional and so beautiful. I love it. And you just put out a work of remixes, which I was rocking out to in the car today. I'm so excited to talk about all this. You were just at Cross last weekend. I had friends there that were at your set. It seems like you've been pretty busy, so I'm excited to talk to you about everything that you've got going on. What's also cool about LP is she's the global music director for W Hotels, which is where she also helps, spotlight up-and-coming artists and really helps program their music spaces. We got to work together at Portola this year. We threw a brunch and a daytime party for attendees who were staying at the W. It was so cool. So again, so happy to have you. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about Femme House and the contributions that it's made. Again, it's a nonprofit dedicated to equality and empowerment and amplifying voices in our community. They do that through education, through mentorship, scholarships, community building, representation. Overall, I think you reach about 15,000 students and have raised over $1 million in investment for underrepresented voices in the industry. So it's amazing. Alongside LP, joining us on stage are 2 other Femme House execs. Lauren Spalding is the co-founder of Femme House and also a DJ known as Her Mix-a-Lot. I think you're producer?
Vocalist, songwriter.
Vocalist, sorry.
Much cooler.
You'd be a very sick DJ, though.
I know, I just need to learn the equipment.
Yeah, maybe you should take a Femme House course.
Maybe I should take one of our courses.
Her Mix-a-Lot sounds like a great DJ name, too. Come on. Also, you're the head of culture for Femme House, so excited to talk to you. And then Hillary Gleason is the head of development for Femme House and also owns her own company, Level Together, and Backline, which I want to talk about a little later. So That's who's up here from FemHouse. Last but not least, Alicia Carlin is from AEG. She's a global touring director and booker of our festivals and tours. Alicia has experience working with LP and leads in booking Electric Forest, along with Sabrina Carpenter's tour, Keisha Cole, Mitski, Tyla. The list probably goes on, but we're excited to have you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, ladies, let's start out by just telling your story if you're open to it, right? I think we'd love to hear in a couple minutes each, if you can, how you started, how it's going and where it's going. Just have fun with it, but give us a little bit about each of you, please. Maybe starting with LP.
Fantastic. Oh, gosh. Well, where did it start? I started playing piano in second grade, and I had the best mentor of all time. Her name is Carolyn Horn. She's my piano teacher, and I studied with her all the way through graduating high school and going to college. A lot of my album is dedicated to her. The last track on Daughter is dedicated to her. It uses her voice. I recorded our last piano lesson together. She passed away of Alzheimer's last year, which is a big catalyst to me wanting to make the album and highlight the women that have deeply informed me. She was the first adult to shine this mirror to me and say, you can do anything and you can be anything. And the power of that is life-changing. I'm sitting here because of her, 100%. So, fast forward, I went to college for jazz piano performance at UC Berkeley, and I'm playing a jazz gig in a bar. I was working for Another Planet Entertainment. And I learned a lot about the music industry there, which was, what an agent and a manager are, what a promoter does, and the importance of really good promoters. I feel really lucky to kind of come from learning about the business. But I met during that time period, I met a gentleman named Peter Franco, who's an engineer for Daft Punk, and he was putting together an all-female electronic band, and approached me to see if I wanted to play in it, and I didn't even know what a synth was at the time. And so I said, I don't think I'm qualified. And he's like, no, all these girls have a background in jazz. And if you know music theory, that's the hard part. The easy part will be the electronics. So ignorance is bliss. I leaped, and I spent the next few years trapped in a garage trying to teach myself how to use Pro Tools. And I didn't have a natural ability to produce or use electronic gear, but what really drove me is not seeing myself represented in this space. And this is a controversial name right now, but I was reading an article about how Grimes produced her own music. And I was sitting in the studio with a bunch of male producers, and I was raised by hippie parents, deadheads, who are like, you can do anything and you can be anything. And it still never occurred to me that I could be in the role of producer because I didn't see myself represented. And that's when a light bulb moment for me happened in learning the power of visual representation. And I was dead set on being that for somebody else. And so around this time period, I also had the good fortune of meeting her mix-a-lot, Lo, my best friend, and so many late nights drinking whiskey and wine.
Why do you always insert that part? It's a professional panel. CEO AG watching right now like, damn.
Drinking whiskey and wine, name of our next album. And Lo taught me a lot about life, but really honed in on the importance of seeing yourself represented and what that means, and really blew my mind. The patience she had with me. And so we knew we wanted to start something one day that could provide education and support for people. I don't think that having more female producers necessarily changes the world, but I do know that thinking anybody can be anything and can do anything, that does change the world. So we just sort of approached that through electronic production. And so I guess FemHouse was, we eventually met our educator while volunteering at Girls Rock Camp, which is another amazing organization. And so we started FemHouse, had no idea what we were doing, met Hillary, who runs Backline, which we'll hear about more later, and she's been in the nonprofit space. And learning, and the nonprofit space is as big and robust and overwhelming as the music industry. So learning how to navigate that, put together a board, and create a 501c3. We're so grateful for Hillary's help in shaping our organization, and I guess that's sort of where we are today.
You forgot that you're touring like 250 days a year now.
300.
Sort of 300 at this
It feels like 495. It's weird.
And just to inject, like you hadn't really toured until coming out of the pandemic. So Sophie Tucker were streaming in Austin every day of the pandemic. I think they regretted saying that. They thought it was going to be like a shorter time than it was, but started to get LP involved there. And then she started touring after that and is now usually halfway across the world and also in LA or Denver or New York. And watching her, you know, not only tour as now like a headlining DJ on so many of these festivals and her own tours, but also run FemHouse is some of the inspiration for why I'm here. I started my career in nonprofits, primarily in global health, and worked my way up the East Coast to land in DC at the UN Foundation and in New York at Global Citizen. Global Citizen being a great example of using music and advocacy to solve some of the big challenges facing humanity. I guess, first of all, I was going to concerts like 5 nights a week because nonprofits are really hard. And that is a place where I could fill my cup. That's how I was raised by deadhead parents, was if you go see a show, you can like ride that high for weeks and makes you a better employee. It makes you a better partner, a better parent. And so I was doing that in New York and found that most of my friends at the time were in music in some capacity. And they would always be like, that's so cool that you work in nonprofits. Like, I wish that we could do that. But, you know, our band is paycheck to paycheck, or we don't have somebody at the venue that can like take on another role of figuring out how to do that well. So I started a consulting firm in 2017 to kind of be the bridge between nonprofits and the music industry and like help translate, you know, nonprofits want to send like a 3-page email about what you can do to help. Tour managers and managers can read about 3 sentences before they decide it's like too long. So I translate that stuff for my clients and had about 10 clients before I got the call to start Backline. And we'll talk more about Backline at some point. We keep saying that. I know it's a big teaser. It's not going to be that exciting when we get there.
Hanger.
Okay.
But building Backline, you know, founding a nonprofit is so different than working in one. And so really got like a lot of experience, and Backline serves music industry folks. So now I'm fully in the music industry through that. And I booked LP for a live stream in 2021. And she's the kind of artist that actually wants to get on a Zoom call with everyone who ever wants to work with her, which I think is crazy. But it worked for us because we got on the Zoom call and we were both in Grateful Dead t-shirts and we were like, let's go. And I mentioned the consulting firm and she was like, we need you. And working with Lo and LP is honestly part of what keeps me going. It's like a level of energy and drive and hustle that I really needed to level up in my world, and I think help FemHouse level up along the way. So I'm excited to be here today.
Hi.
Lo, are you next?
Alicia goes, you're next. I have been working in the music industry since I was 17. I'm going to be 40 this year. But literally the day after I graduated high school, I started working at Capitol Records in the publicity department as an intern. And every time I get a microphone in my hand, I always want to shout out this organization. They are responsible for me and therefore for FemHouse. It's called Yes to Jobs. They're an LA-based nonprofit. I'm not even sure if they still exist, but back in my day, they went around to high schools and pitch Black and brown kids on whether or not they wanted to enter the film and music industries. And they connected people with jobs. And more than that, they taught you how to have a job. They taught you how to interview for a job, how to dress. And they're responsible for my entire professional life. And honestly, I took that internship in publicity at Capitol Records, and I just refused to leave the building until I found another building to go menace people at. And I've been doing that for like 25 years. I feel like my true professional life, as I sort of envision it as a grown-up when I'm thinking about legacy and impact and change making, started with FemHouse. It's sort of the coalescence of every value I've ever had, everything I've ever learned about myself, everything I've ever learned about people, everything I've ever learned about community, and the music stuff is really just a bonus. Being able to impact what this industry that I deeply love, always as a fan first, is what has truly sort of coalesced my professional career. So I'm just getting started, I think. Oh, and I met Leah, girl. Girl. I'm not gonna say it because it's a live stream that's gonna be publicly available. And I'm looking directly at the camera. Is this the live stream camera, sir? Where's the live stream camera? That right there? You know who you are. You know why I'm not saying your name. Thank you. And also, you know what you did.
We met through my ex-boyfriend, so that's almost. You don't have to say his name.
I blew up the spot. Anyway, the greatest gift I've ever been given by that person is this person, who has truly been the catalyst and the spark behind every dream that I've ever had. And we dreamt up. Thanks so much. We dreamt up Femme House together over several years. She already told you guys, over several glasses of whiskey and wine, thousands of packs of like American spirits, lots of late nights. And I'll actually tell a quick story. The first thing that we ever called Femme House was a headline show with Gavin Turek at August Hall in San Francisco, which is like, what's the capacity to that? Like 1,000. When I tell y'all we flopped so bad, I am understating it. Like I think we sold like 65 tickets. We maybe had like 100 people in the room. But what is so special about that night is that had no impact on the vibes at all. It was truly the first inclination that this like tiny little bit of community that we had started to foster with Femme House mattered to people. And that is like this night that probably should have broken us. It probably should have stopped us. We probably should have been like, oh girl, we just played, my bad. But we didn't because the vibes were so high. And that to me, like, that is Femme House in a nutshell. The way the community propels us forward and helps us grow and continues to grow our impact, like that has nothing to do with us. It's all about community. And I wanted to name that because this is community too. And in Women's History Month, like it's important, I think, to center that community for women in this industry and like reminders like, keep going. There's always someone, there's always community to be had. And
Wait,
you're next.
One second. Sorry. We like to talk a lot, if you can't tell.
Laura's like, speed it the fuck up. We were already late. This is the first question.
Okay, this is actually important for me to say as the director of development, you guys. You pay me to do this work. Come on. So the two of them started Femme House in 2019. We're going into our 6th year. Not a dollar to their names, nor an idea how to start a nonprofit. Didn't raise a dollar the first year, and the first money.
First 2 years, I fear.
The first money that Femme House ever received was actually from Coca-Cola.
Oh my God, I totally forgot that. Thank you, Coca-Cola.
And here we are at Coke Studios.
Full circle. I totally forgot that.
Well done.
I hope that was worth the intermission.
I was. You ate that.
Well, to follow that up,
You're next.
I have been in the business. I started at AEG in 2006, opening the Colorado office, which didn't exist at the time, with Brent Fedrizzi and Chuck Morris and Don Strasberg. I had been working at an agency and at a music publicity firm before that in Colorado. And they were opening this office, and it was a great opportunity, being pretty entrenched in the Colorado music community, to get a job at AEG, which was, we didn't even know what it was in Colorado, really. It was just starting out. So helped open that office, and then we created a festival called the Rothbury Festival, which was the precursor to what is now Electric Forest. in between there, I had a couple stints as an agent for a minute, and then decided that promoting is where my heart is really at, and have been working on Electric Forest since 2011, since its inception, and have done a lot of great work with FemHouse. And similar to LP and everybody, I have a pretty eclectic musical background, a deep love for the Grateful Dead and jam band culture, which really spurred kind of like the American festival culture, which I am a huge fan and student of, and also activism and nonprofits in the music space specifically. I've worked a lot with different nonprofits in the music space, like Headcount and Conscious Alliance, and then through the years, always trying to like develop these communities, and especially with women. So when they started FemHouse and when Hillary started Backline, just kind of bringing all of those pieces together into the fold, into the different tours and festivals and spaces where I have an influence. It was amazing. It was incredible. And kind of bridging those worlds of hippie culture and electronic culture and pop culture and female community and underrepresented communities is something that I'm really passionate about. And here we are.
Amazing.
We love you.
Yes. Alicia, congratulations on the round 2 recent lineup of Electric Forest. It's fire. Looks
Thank you.
fantastic. Yes. It's so fun to be up here listening to you three. I mean, all of this, but your vibes. This is incredible.
This is also why Team Call takes 3.5 hours every
so good.
unfortunately.
No, but I'd love to dig a little bit more into FemHouse. If somebody in this room wanted to recommend it or even sign up themselves, what is the type of programming that you're offering, and what is it like, the process of becoming a member, really?
Only 2% of producers are women. That's really where this stems from.
That was the stat when we started, because we discussed it, and it was the year that Emily Lazar was nominated for a Grammy, and so the Recording Academy did an entire marketing campaign around that with that stat. And it happened to be at the same time you yourself were learning how to produce. That number has since gone up. It's been going down, but this year, the Annenberg study has it closer to 6%, which is still nasty work, but we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. So we asked ourselves, with all that wine and whiskey, how can we change that number? Like, why? And so we just, we sort of landed on through education and visual representation. It's hard to be what you can't see. So when you go to these festivals, that's why it's so important to have bookers that are looking at their lineup and taking a step back and seeing, where they can raise diversity in those in all those different slots. And I know that Alicia is really aware of that, and that is actually quite rare in our industry. So thank you for that. And when you see yourself represented up there, you think maybe it's possible for me subconsciously or consciously. And then we work with festivals to help either book stages. We've done that with
Huluween.
Yeah.
Groove Cruise.
Yep. And so we offer, because I'm obviously not a booker, but obviously the headliners sell most of the tickets for a festival, but there are a lot of slots that are sort of open to get your foot in that door. And the bookers, there may be lower fees and they can play a little bit more with that. And so we have gone to a lot of these promoters and said, we can help you fill those. And we know a lot of awesome female artists and producers or gender expansive producers. And so we work with a lot of promoters in that way. And then also through education. We didn't really see a safe space where the first Ableton course I took was me and 200 guys. And for me, this is in San Francisco, I was like, fuck yeah, bring it on. But I know not everybody feels that way. And so we wanted to create a safe space for learning. We had our first in-person workshop in 2019, a few months before the pandemic.
Literally, it was...
we worked so hard to find a school that we could work with.
It was like that first one in 2019, I think it was in summer of 2019. And there were like just 10 Ableton studios in Pasadena let us use their space. And there were literally just 10 women around Push Playgrounds and Ableton learning together. And they were so cute. They like went and got chips and guacamole, and like it was less actually about learning on that day, but rather sort of celebrating this community that was starting to be formed that was safe for learning. And in the coming months, we started getting more and more demand. We moved to IO Academy in Hollywood because we needed more space. And then, as you all know, the world came to a screeching halt. And the same day that California gave the shelter-in-place order was the same day that we had our session for that month. So we very quickly had to move online to Zoom. We set up a Zoom link. We threw it online. And we're used to 10, max 20 people in a room, which we're still finding pretty impactful. And on that Zoom, I think like 250 people showed up to that Zoom. And we went, oh shit, people
It turned out to be
really want this.
A blessing in disguise, because we were freaking out, like we finally figured out how to start a school, and now the pandemic, how are we gonna, and when we figured out how to pivot online, we actually ended up partnering with She Is the Music, another amazing organization, and Alicia Keys' nonprofit, who and Alicia Keys went and shouted us out. And so then actually in the next one we did an online course, and there were thousands of people from all over in the chat. I'll never forget this. I was watching the chat and it was like, hello from Australia, hello from Mexico, hello from Canada. It's just
We had I think
what is
like
happening?
Wow.
1,500 women from across 70 plus countries in the world.
So
And it was really, really fucking cool.
And now a lot of what we do is online. So
Nearly everything that we do is online. One only need to go to thisisfemhouse.com/sessions or /events to find us anywhere. It's easy. Everything is free except for our online courses, which are free if you're a BIPOC creator. BIPOC, I'm trying to remember the code. I can't remember right now. Try BIPOC. That sounds...
or try emailing us.
We'll put the code in the chat.
Don't try emailing us until after Miami Music Week, actually. But most everything is free. The online courses that we offer are month-long immersions into Ableton and different sorts of workflows, tips, and tricks. And those are pay-what-you-can basis. They start at like $25 and go up to $80. We ask allies or people with privilege to pay a little bit more. That's how we subsidize making it free for BIPOC creators, and also bringing along people that are at that lower price point.
And then we also still do workshops in person, and LP is personally committed to not sleeping very much on tour, which is that she has an in-person workshop almost every time she has a show, using often the W Hotel spaces that she's plugged in with. But we've educated over 15,000 creators since 2019. And to take it a step farther, a few years ago, we started a fellowship program that is a lot more hands-on for the fellows that we select. They're getting mentorship, one-on-one support, direct access to LP and our chief educator and Lo, and really hands-on in that of how do you find a manager? How do you find an agent? Like, what is your... You now know how to make music. What is the path from there? And the festival plays go into that, and the contests that we do for remixes and stuff. It's like, how can we platform you and get your foot in the door? And like LP was saying with festivals, it's like there are sometimes those slots, but they're not going to give them to somebody that they don't have like a good recommendation. So FemHouse can be sort of that like validating force and like, no, this is a really great thing. And then once you've played a festival, the next festival is going to ask, well, have they ever played a festival? And so if you can say yes, then it like really opens up a huge doorway for people to begin a live career.
Exactly. And you actually brought up my remixes, thank you, that dropped last week. And one of them we worked with, I released my album on Ninja Tune, and we did an online course about how to make a remix. And there was a contest, and the winner, everybody who took the course could enter their track at the end of it, using my stems from one of my songs. And so there is a FemHouse winner on the remix package.
Which song is it?
It's Love Come Through.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, it's
I think it's the last track on the remix back, yeah.
It just came out Friday. Yeah, so listen to it all. I was listening to it on the way here. It was amazing. Yeah.
And there are a couple compilations too with Insomniac Records that we've released before. So there are like recorded opportunities, live opportunities, education, panels, networking, mentorship, like really trying to come at it from all angles, because like recognizing our community doesn't fit one, one persona. They're all at different places in their career. So we try to provide as many different ways for them to plug in with FemHouse and use the platform.
We're here to kick down the door for you.
And some people don't want to play live.
Yeah,
right?
So smart.
They've got it figured out. But I just think that's really important to note, right? There's so many ways to be involved in music as a producer or a female producer, working with other artists, producing their music, producing remixes with artists that maybe that's not what their interest is. Like, there's so many directions that you can take, and you don't have to think of it in, one direction or one box. There's so much opportunity.
Yeah, just the technical aspects of the making of the music. I think that we see ourselves represented as women to be artists a lot more than the to be a manager or an agent or running the boards or mix engineer or producer and so we're trying to spotlight those other roles.
Yeah, there are a lot.
If you yourself are a good DJ or producer, we would like for you to come teach for us. One of the biggest problems in starting FemHouse, and one that we continue to run up against, is that there's not a lot of female facilitators. There's not a lot of representation that says, I have learned all of this and now I can teach it to you. Ableton has a certified trainer program, and we work with them on tour to hire their female trainers. And there's like a dozen of them out of several. There's 6 in North America. There's another 6 scattered throughout the world. They have like 5,000 of them. So that just goes to show you, right? And that's why we focus on education and representation. You can't do something that you don't know that you can do. Visual cues is one of the first ways that we synthesize that we can do something or be something or try something. So I say that to say, if you yourself want to come teach with us, hit us up.
Amazing.
Did I eat that? Shoulder squeeze about it.
Hillary, I'm going to come to you next because I think it's so unique that you sit at this intersection of, music and mental health and helping artists find the resources that they need, which is something that we talk about internally all the time. It's so important. All of our music venues have safe spaces. We create them at our festivals as well. But I'd love to just talk a little bit about the nonprofit that you are a part of, Backline.
Backline reveal.
Reveal.
So Backline is a nonprofit. We also started in 2019, which has been fun to be on the same timeline, that helps music industry professionals and their family members access mental health and wellness resources. So we have a network of therapists, psychologists, and providers that have experience working with the music industry that we can refer you out to. We try to take the guesswork out of finding care. So if you're looking for a therapist that specializes in trauma and is a person of color, we can find that therapist for you. And we're also looking into, what insurance you have and really getting hands-on with building you a custom care plan so that it's going to work for you, you're eligible for it. If you need financial aid or assistance in any way, you just have to tell a Backline case manager and we will build you a custom care plan that reflects, your exact needs. We've done that for over 2,000 people now in the industry. We also have online support groups. We have access to about 75 different wellness programs, yoga, breathwork, meditation, that kind of thing. There is a sign in every AEG green room that tells, people coming through that Backline exists and is there for them to access. Everything we do is completely free. If you want to see a really expensive therapist, we'll point you in that direction and you're on your own. But through us, everything we do is free. And we really are big on access and creating a community care model for people in this industry that includes your partners, spouses, siblings, recognizing this is an ecosystem that requires a lot from our families to be gone a lot and everything else. So we try to be a comprehensive, accessible mental health resource that is deeply understanding of the lifestyle. when I used to go to therapy, they'd be like, well, just don't go to the festival this weekend. It's like, well, that's not
an
gonna work.
option.
So like, what can I do, given the confines of this box I've found myself in?
Find a new therapist.
Yeah. Find a new therapist, exactly. So 90% of our therapists have experience working with people in the music industry. Many of them are former music industry folks, or they're married to somebody in the music industry. So there's a level of connection that I think helps build a better, client-provider relationship from the baseline. You don't have to spend as much time explaining yourself, but it's really changing the game, right? So we've been in it for 5.5 years, and those 2,000 people who have a custom care plan is great. We have, tens of thousands of people who've accessed resources we put together, like a touring notebook that is downloadable from our site, or our online support groups. But we're actually having like the craziest 6 weeks of Backline's life right now, which is Chappell Roan. Many of you saw her Best New Artist speech at the Grammys, calling for better access to healthcare for artists. And there was a Hollywood Reporter article that was a tough read that, said she should put her money where her mouth is. She's so green in this, she doesn't really know what she's calling out. And she said, okay, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'm starting a fund at Backline to service people. So she made a $25,000 donation, as did Noah Kahn and Charlie XCX. And then we woke up the next morning and AEG had made a $25,000 donation. Wasserman, Sumerian Records, it just like kicked off this huge moment for us. It also spotlighted us in front of, thousands more music industry professionals. So we're seeing about 4 times as many people come through our programs this month as ever before. And it's really heartening. Alicia, I think I met you in Denver for the first time. And we were both living there, and people weren't really talking about mental health. We were like in our friend groups, but it was nowhere near where the conversation is. And like, we've been in it for 5 years now, and the needle has moved some during that, but like this month feels like the start of the next chapter.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know Hillary and I are both big proponents of mental health therapy, wellness, integrating wellness programs into what we're doing on tour, on festivals, and I think it is something that we can share with all of our communities at work and staff and say like, oh, we understand that we need help. This business is not easy mentally a lot of the times, and not easy on the people in our lives. I think that's a really important thing to call out, and point that Backline is making. So I will say, especially during the pandemic, when I think there was also a really big spotlight on Backline was doing in our internal music industry community. It was really, really impactful and special to see how many people they were helping, and you've just done incredible work.
Thank you.
I also have personally used it, and I just want to shout out how awesome it is. I don't think anything can prepare you for touring. Anything. And I found myself in a really hard spot mentally, and reached out to Hillary. And I mean, I at this point barely have time to wipe my own ass. So to like the idea of like going to my insurance and trying to find a provider and trying to find a therapist, it was just like, I'm never going to do this. This is so overwhelming. And so I went to Hillary, here's your caseworker. And they were like, did all the work for me, and actually got my ass in therapy. And I am so grateful for that.
I think, this panel is special for me because I get to wear both hats, but it's also like really awesome and the perfect timing for Women's History Month that women see a problem and they're like, I'm gonna do something about this. And we have done that, right? Like I had so many friends before we started Backline that were just like getting lost in this. And that was really the like starting point for us, was like, how do we keep more people in this work and on the planet? And so it was like, just we were going to figure it out and make it happen. And I think it's been so easy for me to integrate within FemHouse because it's like the same thing and different problem. And so it's like, hey, here's a problem. Let's like get to it. And like, I don't know how we're going to do this. I'd never started a nonprofit before, but like, here we are, almost 6 years later, and we're actually doing it, and like getting to hear the stories of, LP runs a radio show. on Sirius XM. And so sometimes she'll go and interview an artist and she's like, how did you get your start in music? And they're like, well, through Femhouse. You didn't know that? And she's like, what? You know, and
Makes me cry every time.
I get to hear it at Backline, you know, at shows, people come up and be like, wow, I really wouldn't be here without you. And it's like actually being able to change somebody's life and like the potential that they see in themselves is so powerful and so motivating to keep going.
I have chills. Sorry. It's so incredible. I feel like everything we've been talking about hits so hard on what Women's History Month represents and that theme of like inspiring generations and educating and moving together. And I think it's incredible what you all have done. And I wanted to ask if there's examples of women or anyone really that have come up through Femhouse that you want to talk about or share an example of.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Is this the big intro? Are they getting chairs? Are they gonna like? Are we all gonna applaud?
But wait, there's another reveal.
Where's the camera again, sir? Where's the camera? Wait for it.
During this interlude, I would like to really shine a light on Alicia. Alicia is one of the most respected and adored women in the music industry and has really paved the way on an executive level, but coming up through this, if you know Alicia Carlin, that's a good place to start when you're trying to meet somebody for the first time. And to do the work that you do so well in music, there's not always time or energy for the nonprofit stuff. And you make the time and you make the space for us. And we wouldn't be here today without you, but I also see the impact on both of our organizations. And, you know, the street cred that we get for being able to work with AEG is massive for us and how we work with other partners. And it's really fun to be able to tell you that on a microphone.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of our best.
And on camera.
One of our best Femhouse panels, we showed up at Electric Forest and with Tisha and John Summit, and just the community that you have created at that festival is miraculous.
Thank you.
I want to say something about Electric Forest, which is like the funnest festival ever. But we had terrible luck. We actually had planned 5 or 6 activations. We got to only do
100
one.
things.
We only
Speaking
got
of
to do
Zooms.
one. We got rained out, so the festival had to close multiple hours every day. And again, that did nothing to annihilate the vibes. We were high vibing. The community still came, followed us around
We
where
put
they
a
could find
tent
us.
over Leah's head.
It was
We
just
were
like,
we are playing this set.
We
people.
got it going, and that's a testament to the culture and community that you've built there, and also a testament and to the culture that you are. Like Electric Forest is you, the community is you, and you really feel the warmth of what you do and the intention behind all the curation from the artists to the activations to all your collaborations. You feel that through each stage of the festival, whether or not you're caught in a fucking mudslide or not. It's incredible.
Thank you. And I really appreciate that. And you guys obviously are a big part of that, the artists that come to Electric Forest. And one thing I love about Electric Forest is, yes, thank you. I love being involved, but there is a massive community of thousands of people that make that happen and that care so deeply about the experience. And what's so special to me is that almost 20 years later, we started Rothbury Festival in 2008. So many of the people who work on it are OGs, and so many of them are women. And I think that is
feel that.
really special. Nova, Anna, Dasha, the list goes on and on and on. But there were people that started as interns that are now running massive departments there. And I do attribute that a lot to the collective female community that we've built at that show.
With that said, that's the camera again. 2023 Electric Forest. Wait, run it back. Excuse me. With that said, 2023 Electric Forest performers Ray Cola. Clap. What the fuck?
Yeah. We'll make room for everyone in the webinar.
That's what we do. We make room for everyone.
Moving forward together.
You guys are nailing it. I can't.
So Ray Cola is really special to us because not only are they some of our favorite artists, but it's one such story. It's just like, how did you come to Femme House? They were radio show guests, and they were like, you actually brought us to Femme House.
Full circle moment. It's really crazy because, yeah, we were telling you that 6 years ago we took our first Femme House workshop, and it was at a point in time where we wanted to learn about production, and we had solely been DJing, maybe making a few crazy mashups and stuff.
Some mashups that who knows what they sounded like.
Free start.
Yes, but we had never created original music, and we were really interested, but didn't really know where to start. It can be really intimidating when you feel like you don't know anything about it, and just we found something online, and it felt so divine to find a female-led workshop specifically on music production, and we kind of took that leap and went in, and it's crazy to look at it now because after that workshop, I applied for a music production program and went to school and learned, but having that really comfortable first environment really allowed me to create, I think, from my heart and just have a creative flow instead of just being in my head and being really worried of, oh, I don't know anything. I don't know if I can ask questions. I don't know, just being a little bit more, I don't know, scared about it. So having a safe environment definitely led to us exploring it even deeper,
Yeah, I remember another event that we went as well for Femme House. It was more of a mixer DJ type of event, and we went with just no expectations, and I ended up winning a microphone and my interface from this Femme House event. And
That we still use
I've created
now.
so many songs that we've released from that, and it's like, you never know where these little seeds along the way are going to take you, and I've really just gained so much confidence and support from you guys in ways that you don't even know. So I really do appreciate that. And look at us now. I'm like, oh my God, we're here.
Played Electric Forest.
We played
We're
Electric
talking here.
Forest, and that was just 6 years ago. So it's crazy.
That's so special. And I think what I would hope that all of you take from that and from this gathering is Frankie Knuckles in the late 70s once famously asked, like he was like walking down the street with a friend, and he was like, what is this house music? What is house music? What is this shit everybody's talking about? And his friend was like, bro, you are house music. They're talking about you. And that resonates with me so hard because I feel like all of us are just sort of going along, doing our work and trying to operate with integrity and authenticity and like chase our own dreams and find our own lives that we want to live. And so you never know that you're making history or making impact or making change, right? When you're doing it, you're just like doing the thing that you want to be doing, that you feel like you should be doing. And I really hope that all of you, no matter where you are in your career, like keep that as your North Star. I have no recollection of the event that you're talking about.
Yeah, that is okay.
It happened.
And like, I believe you that it happened. And like, that's so, I think that we can all often like just forget the shit that we're doing. That's why it's important to come together in this way too, right? Like remind yourself to keep going and remind yourself that the thing that you are doing has impact, whether it's on one person or thousands of people, it matters. And I think it's really important at this moment in time, at this moment in history, especially as women, as queer people, as people of color, as any marginalized group, like remember to just keep going. The world is telling you in so many ways to stop. Don't. It's important.
I feel like we need to do more giveaways.
That's what I was just thinking.
Being here and hearing that like is part of what fuels us to like keep going too. There's so much going on. I don't necessarily want to email the people to get the giveaway thing and like set it all up, but like now I need to for all of our events.
No, I think that's really important that you even said that because it made what Hillary's thinking is exactly what I was thinking of. Like, let the microphone companies, let the interface companies hear the impact, and that will resonate with your brands, and those are the things that actually move culture and move music and are deeply impactful.
That said, thisisfemhouse.com will be debuting this summer a new content series called Session to Stage, where we take you from FemHouse session to the stage.
Love it.
That'll be a future reveal.
We have probably 5, maybe 7 minutes left. I wanted to make sure that we got to talk to you all in the audience. If anyone has any questions, gonna put you on the spot a minute.
Hello. My question is looking back on the last 6 years of FemHouse and now looking forward towards what you want to see. Obviously, you're seeing change in these really wonderful and amazing ways, but what's another North Star that you guys are kind of pointing towards and hoping to see in the next 6 years with FemHouse?
So we started FemHouse in 2019, right? Until this past summer, I was the executive director as well. Being an executive director of a nonprofit sucks, I'm not gonna lie. And especially when you're building something.
It's hard and challenging.
Yeah, and that sucks. And I'm speaking frankly right now on purpose, and I promise you I'm not just like being silly. When you're building something and you're also trying to learn how to build the thing that you're building, especially in a nonprofit where a lot of it is paperwork and remembering deadlines and emailing people back and making spreadsheets and budgeting, I got really burnt out. And so I think it's important, especially for women, to name burnout because it affects us more than anything. Because I was talking to Alicia and she was like, yeah, I manage blah, blah, blah. I was like, how many jobs do you have? She was like, oh, quite a bit. And it's just like all of us have so many things in our signatures and we have families and we're trying to show up as good daughters and good friends and good partners. I have a child. So, I'm trying to be a good dad and also be a good dad at FemHouse and also and also follow my dreams. It became too much and I burned out. And I want to name that because I think it's powerful to name burnout, especially as women, and have it be safe to say, I burnt out, I needed to do something different. So my something different is I created a new role called Head of Culture. And the reason I did that is because I'd like to diversify the community of FemHouse, which is still very largely white, straight women. No shade, yeah, my girlies, but but I wanna honor all of my intersections, and that's part of. I think it's important especially now, for every industry to look at itself with as diverse a lens as possible, and have as many perspectives of lived experience possible. And also it's personally important to me. I'm Black, I'm queer, I'm masked, and I'm a woman, and I have all these jobs, and I'm a dad, and I'm a partner. And I think that what will sort of fuel FemHouse in the next 5 years is building a bigger house, literally, for more people, for more community members. And I want all of you to feel safe to show up as your authentic selves. And I want the programming that we offer to feel like it's speaking directly to you. I don't want you to feel like you have to fit us. We want to build to fit you. And that's what I'm focused on.
And that includes genre expansion, right? So we started in house music very much deeply in the electronic scene still today, but the tools that we're teaching people will help them make music across genres. So that is definitely coming. It's part of the culture work that Lo is doing, but also, going into jam bands. And figuring out what that looks like and how we can make a difference there.
It always comes back to the Grateful Dead, doesn't it? Jesus.
Just the way we planned it.
I was just like, I just gave a whole speech about people of color and more gays. You were like, you know how that can help? Jam bands.
Do you want to talk about some of the other genres?
Me and Alicia are cooking. We'll let you Grateful Dead girlies have your moment, but we're
Alicia
cooking.
is a Grateful
across
Dead
all
girl.
I know. And also, we were talking about Doechii earlier. It's called Range.
I mean, I like electronic music now, which I didn't before I started working with FemHouse. So
We got another one.
contain multitudes. I think the other thing we're hoping to do in the next 5 years is help artists actually chart their journey, doing more than just education and representation, but like really helping them figure out management, agencies, contracts. Not everyone has the opportunity to go through traditional music school or business school. And so like helping people figure that out and what's a smart contract to sign and what's not, I think is a big part of what we get asked regularly enough that we're going to have to figure that out next.
My biggest question I get asked, so that's the
I have
next.
some ideas now. Okay.
Oh, yes.
One thing about Alicia, she gonna have a job, she gonna have an idea, and she gonna figure out where the things overlap. I know that's right.
We have a program called Backstage Pass, which I feel like is maybe a way that we can plug in together, where we invite executives to come in and talk about their journey and how they became where they are, and so our community can tune in and hear about different paths to being in other avenues of the industry. So we can maybe offline about that.
I love
Really
that. I signed up for FemHouse and I listened to Lo present and moderate way better than I'm moderating today, but a really cool conversation. And my 9-year-old daughter was in the room and she's like, "Mom, what are you listening to?" And she just started asking about what this is, and she's in a band. She's learning keyboard. It's called Just the Crust. That's the band name. But anyway, it was really cute to just have my 9-year-old be like listening to you and being inspired and asking more questions. So yeah, I'd love to do more with you all for sure.
I love that.
I'm a girl dad, so that really, you got me.
9-year-olds are the best.
Can I ask a closing question?
Yes.
To you ladies, I'm curious if you have like one thing that you took away from FemHouse or your learning experiences that has been like the most valuable over the past 6 years to get you where you are now, performing, touring, producing, all the things.
Yeah, I'd say learning in an environment that I felt safe in allowed me to gain confidence to walk into other rooms with that knowledge and be able to speak up better, because I'm personally shy. I deal with anxiety, and I would go into certain rooms and I wouldn't speak up. And knowing that I was in a safe space with a community, people that supported me, allowed me to just feel better, and I moved way
Having
better.
a standard for what you like and knowing when
that
you
too.
don't feel that way, it's okay for me to not be here. I know that there are spaces that are good. And I just say for myself too, just a sense of community. I remember meeting people at the events that we were at and staying in connection with them and having other people that kind of could relate to the stages that we're in and how we're feeling, and having people to talk to, and the importance of not just bottling that to yourself,
I like to say when we do the in-person activations, it's like our golf course. My partner's in the music industry, and he does a lot of business on the golf course. Okay? A lot of golf. So we need to build our golf courses ourselves. And that's really, really important to have those in-person activations, to book each other, to get each other's information, to, support each other. Like, we look like each other. We want to support each other. We want to all boats rise. And that's, I think it's really important to show up together and activate like that.
Our golf course is sort of turning out to be Miami Music Week, which is so
Our golf course is the club.
unserious. Yeah.
Catch us there. in
Catch
2
us at
weeks.
Club Space at 7 a.m. wearing the darkest sunglasses you've ever seen, very hoarsely telling you, "Yeah, we'll get it done, we'll get it done."
Who from this panel will be there? There you go.
Come see us at Miami Music Week, but like this is our 3rd year there now, and we do something called Fem Friday, which involves a brunch. Like this year we're doing a brunch with Her Dance Floor and Casablanca Records and the Recording Academy, and it's a women in dance music brunch. And there's if you've not been to Miami Music Week and you're in dance music, it is the bro-iest environment on planet Earth at any given time. And we've been able to sort of shift that. And we're growing year over year because we realize that there's been such a vacuum for a safe, loving, comfortable, cozy space for women and queer people and creators of color to gather. So we'll be doing that March 28th, I believe is that Friday. And we also have a panel with Barbara Tucker and Crystal Waters and Kalina Zanders and me and LP
Yes.
talking to the literal, talking and centering and amplifying the literal voices of house and hearing directly from them like how we can make the industry more equitable. So yes, that was a shameless plug. And I want to tell you that every year we're connecting artists with managers and promoters and agents. And after our panel, we have one-to-one artist mentorship so that you can sit down and have a minute with a manager and ask for advice and ask for guidance and make connections. We've had people leave having signed to management and signed to agencies. So if you're going to be there, definitely come check us out. All the info is on our website. And we'd love to see you, but like, to your point, we have to build our own gates. Like, we have to. The gatekeepers are building gates to lock behind them and keep us out. We don't want to build gates, but if that's how they're going to act, we're going to build bigger gates that are always open and unlocked.
And while we're in the shameless plugs, we're also next week at South by Southwest.
I totally forgot about that, even though it's in 4 days.
Yeah, it's next week, hosting an emerging artist hub where people can come get headshots, branding. We have a panel with Amy Corbin from C3 Presents, another iconic woman paving the way for us in the industry. And at Miami Music Week, you also left out the Femmies. We're hosting
the Femmy.
We're hosting our first ever Femmy Awards. Alicia Carlin is nominated for Executive of the Year. And there's a lot going on this month. Please follow us on social. Like, please tap in with us. We're out there. We obviously like to do a lot. So if you have ideas, we're here for it. You know, if there's a way that we can grow together, we want to do that.
In closing, I just want to express my gratitude. This is the thing that keeps me going, keeps me on the road 300 days a year, fueled and with my cup full. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you, Lo. Thank you, AEG. I can't tell you what this means to me to see our community sitting here, you know, like feeling like they can do anything. And I thank you.
Thank you. It's so amazing to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm going to do a quick plug too, because the women at AEG have a lot of things that we're working on this month. Last night, we hosted and mentored 30 students, high school women, at the arena here. They learned about different jobs within our company and got to hear about our resources and our internship program. The next thing that we're doing is empowerment kits, which some of you might have helped with last year, but in 16, I believe it's 16 of our regional offices, we're gonna be creating kits for underprivileged youth and sending them little bags and little notes and things that they need and that their organizations have told us that they need. So please get involved with that. But I wanted to just say that because we are going to make a donation to FemHouse as well. We want to start there, but grow and grow and grow. So thank you so much for being here, and let's keep going. Thank you.